Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the Free American Hour. I'm your host, Clay Douglas. And to let you know, check out the website. There's new things happening. My guest yesterday was Robert Holton, and just got copies of his book in yesterday after the show on The McCarthy Chronicles is the title of this. I've got those in stock now. He's got them in stock. And my guest today is Lori Holton. Hello, Lori. How are you?
I'm very good. How are you?
I'm doing well, dear. I'm doing well. And my condolences to you. I know that your mother died, and I'm really proud that you could come on the show. And I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to meet your mother. I have had the opportunity to meet you, and of course you're welcome back in this area any time that you can get here. And if you'd like to talk about your mother for a little while, I'm sure everybody will understand.
Well, mostly I had a very good relationship with her, and as you know, Clay, I'm a published artist, and she's an artist as well, and you know and I've really had a great relationship. So other than the fact that what we're going to talk about today is kind of poignant, it actually has a lot to do with how the arguing happens on the planet, and I'm seeing that go on in the family, and I'm choosing to remain neutral and check out of that drama. So other than that, I wish my mother the best. I know the energy moves on, and I'm good with that.
Now, what did you want to talk about it today on the site here and up here? I put that we're talking about factions of the oversoul of the planet. Exactly what do you mean by that?
Well, in my many years of research and my communications with the Pleiadians, which I have been blessed to hopefully, in particular Hopic Depsnopina, and before I even knew much about the Pleiadians, I've been getting transmissions for a really long time, and my obsession to study religions and different faiths and everything has led to a cathartic moment for me, an actual epiphany of the why. Why can't we all just get along? And when we talk about source, and i.e. God, or whatever it is that is subject to what I like to refer to as not some guy with a hairy beard upstairs judging everybody and damning everybody, but we have multiple dimensions and multiple timelines, and we can go into quantum physics with that, but I don't want to be confusing. But what led me down the path is that the 12 factions, in other words, factions split from source. This is my idea, that when they split from source, then ergo ego happens, and identity needs to be created, and that identity has been replicated and mirrored, and you can see it very easily on the planet. And when we talk about 12 oversoul groups, we're talking about 12 families of oversouls, people that feel as though they connect and they can relate. And I believe there's a reason for that. And I'm going to start with one. One oversoul family would be your favorite, the Jews, right? And then we have Buddhists, and we have nature or Wiccans. And anybody can feel free to splinter off of these groups because they're vast. Number 4 is Hindu. 5 would be Islam, 6 is Christian, 7 is New Age, 8, of course, is, I like to refer to as Satan, Lucifer, Illuminati, and this kind of ties back into the Jews with their Kabbalah Zoharism, because the Illuminati in the Masons get into that too. And even a lot of people don't understand, well, I'll get into that in a second, let me go through the list. 9 is the pagan hedonist, right, and that would be deity worship, mythology, sex, cults, addictions of all types. 10 is the alien of all races of ET worship, including Scientology or anything along that line. 11, of course, would be atheist, inclusive of Darwinism, eugenics, science, and evidence. And 12 is my favorite group, Native Indians, all around the globe, all tribes. And part of what I have...
I believe, sorry to interrupt you, but I believe that the Indians, that we would have been much better off adopting the Indians type of culture a little bit more closely than the European box house, put them all in the city and so we could control them, role model.
Right, our version of what we're supposed to be conned into what progress is, in other words.
Right.
And which is why everybody's sort of stressed out all the time, because of this progress. You have to make money to...
Now let me ask you exactly, when I went into the army or prison, I'm not sure, I don't remember exactly which, they asked me what religion I was. I said pantheist. Can you identify that? Hold on just a second here.
Sure.
Hello, who's this? Hello, Brian. I don't know why you guys insist on calling me while I'm doing my show. My show is over in 1 hour. Call me then.
So, you wanted to talk about pantheism?
Yes. What you want to? Can you define that for me? Can you tell me? I personally, this is just personal here. I believe all of these religions, they're all created from with an idea reaching for the source. But I have a little different view than most people, which probably keeps me in trouble a lot. I said, if you're omniscient and omnipotent, what are you? Well, everybody answers, God. Well, you're God. Well, I think you're the most bored entity in the universe, especially if you're the only one of your kind. You're the only one. There can be only one. Then you got to be bored shitless. So what do you...
I think it's all connected. I would have a tendency to agree, but the pan, coming from the Greek meaning all, okay, theos meaning God, pantheist believing in universal nature or divinity, and I think that's why you tie yourself so closely to Native Americans, because it's more closely aligned with that oversoul group.
Every society, no matter how remote, whether they're down in the Amazon or down in Africa or the native Indians, they all have their shamans, they all have their witch doctors, they all have their guides, their seers, their prophets, and to me, that's all the same energy. Now you got free will. They put you here, they give you amnesia, and they give you free will, and you've got you can make up your mind whether you want to work for good, for love, at a higher vibrational level of energy, or you can work for the evil, and you get more on the physical plane if you're stealing, robbing, and oppressing people, but you lose your soul, I think.
Well, I think the most difficult thing about this whole subject is the fact that to remain neutral, and that if everybody thinks that I am, then I am, right? And you just seeing as beingness, and a person can very in a difficult way try to not pass judgment. That's very difficult to do, because through definition of self, I think as humans need to feel as though we judge everything so that we can define who we are. And when we're in the center of a concentric circle making judgments and ego and definitions, it becomes a very difficult thing to remain neutral. It's a very hard walk, and I can say that the way the planet is there's been a reset button over and over and over again, and I'm going to talk about the reptilian energies on this planet that have this hierarchy form instead of, a divinity and grace with all humanity. Control, serfs, power groups. It's all an illusion, really. Fiat money. I mean, even if you look at the solids around us, your house, your bed, everything breaks down to light, because electrons aren't spinning in a form in a way that functions. So our 3D matrix that we're trapped into is just exactly that. So you're right. It's difficult, with and I have to bring up these what we might call the negative energy, especially the Zoroastrists and the Kabbalists and things like that, and the Illuminati. Okay, they're playing with numbers and magic, and they're opening portals. So, and they like to keep their rituals secret so they can manipulate. And I used to be a media director in Hollywood, and let me tell you, when people watch TV, you fall right into alpha. You are being programmed. I rarely watch television.
It was strange. I stayed with a woman for about a month once, and she had a television. And while she was at work, I'd just kind of go in and turn on the TV in her house, and I can't be hypnotized, but I could tell that it was affecting me like that. I wasn't moving, I wasn't thinking, I wasn't using my mind. I was in an altered state.
Well, I've heard David Icke before, and he said that at one time in Britain, it was like it was a voucher in Europe to give everybody a TV set. And of course, you know, why does everybody have to have a voucher for a TV set? To keep you programmed. Why did the federal government give vouchers for, you know, when everything went digital, for conversion from analog to digital? To keep everybody programmed. They want us locked in this trap. I mean, utilitarian. You know, the Indians had a way of teaching me, which is own nothing and owe no man. Why do we have to pay to live on a planet we're born on?
That's the whole plan behind my Liberty Villages. If you're growing your own food in the ground that God gave you, if you own your own property and you can grow your own food and you can build and solar and wind generator. Let's see, solar. What's the main ingredient in that? Oh yeah, silicone. Oh yeah, that's sand, isn't it? That's pretty plentiful. Doesn't seem like that would be that expensive. And with the silicone, you can turn the sunlight into electricity. You could live in a teepee and put a wind generator up and put solar panels around the top of your teepee, and live without the government, without the power companies, without the oil companies. I mean, we really could be free.
You know, I did a test on myself a few months ago, and I unplugged from the computer, from the cell phone. I went off everything. And I went through withdrawals. And I decided not just to get a cell phone just for phone calls, and try as much as I can not to get hooked and read on a daily basis as much as I can. I mean, a book, you know. I mean, and get myself, you know, thinking, because I mean, I could see where there's some control mechanisms with the computers too.
Yeah, every now and then I pick up a book.
Yeah, I know. Well, you're a lot writing, you know. But you know, your form and function of writing is you're very literate. You're very well read.
I read every book, every science fiction book. I specialized. I read every science fiction book in the Fort Worth Public Library before I was 14.
That's not surprising.
I loved Robert A. Heinlein, Isaac Asimov, Edgar Rice Burroughs.
You know that L. Ron Hubbard. I mean, he's quite fascinating with his little creation of Scientology. It cracked me up by the time you paid them all their money to outprogram your Ingrams, you find out that at the end of it is some alien. That's funny, okay? And they give you this fear tactic that if you find out who it is, I can't remember the name of the alien guy or whatever, then you're gonna be, you know, something bad's gonna happen, or, you know, all these religions have a setup, you know. And I like Native Americans. I like any tribe. They're really more free.
That's it. The whole plan for buying Liberty Villages is to recreate a tribe, a village, a community, that people work together. I mean, that's the hardest part of what you're going through right now. Why isn't your family standing with you, working with you to help each other You know, why are we fighting each other? To me, that's the biggest problem out there. Families don't stand together. Communities don't stand together. The whole concept of Liberty Village you could do in downtown Las Vegas, in a city block, turn your backyards into gardens, you know, put solar panels on your roof, and then you don't need the church or the government. To me, it's not the religions that are wrong. It's the people, the churches, that get behind it.
It's still in all these religions. There's still hierarchy. I mean, you can even study Buddhism, right? And there's still, you know, you have to sit a certain way, and they smack you on the back with a rod to make sure you're trying to keep your focus on nothing, right? And you know, all these religions, and I mean all the factions within them. I've never seen so many right people in my life. Kind of reminds me of when I went to my last Mensa meeting. I was listening to everybody who had a point, and I said, "You're all right. Everybody's right. Everybody has a point." And so people aren't wrong, but when people try to take their truth and convert and pervert through their converting and do a make wrong on other individuals, that is, to me, from my perspective, is a different kind of connected being here on the planet. And you know, I've had a very difficult time understanding that, because when you make somebody wrong, you know, that's hurtful. That's okay. You're doing something that I don't agree with, you know, and I don't think that's coming from a place of a self-identity, you know, that is solid.
Now, I've said one of the problems. First of all, let me go back to some statements that you made. You talked about the Pleiadians. You know, and you mentioned the reptilians. I had to go up to David Icke and apologize one time. We were both speaking at the Conspiracy Con. Dr. Leonard Horowitz was there, and I've known Len for a long time. But he got angry. He was mad at me because I had run an article in my magazine called "Do Jews Run the World, and Is It Hate to Ask That Question?" And he got really angry at me. Why didn't you check with me before you ran that article? When have I ever checked with anyone before I ran an article? And he stood up and yelled, "Fuck you," and walked out and repeated that. And I walked up to him in the hotel lobby. I walked up to him and I said, "I don't appreciate you using that kind of language in front of my children." And he flipped out, started screaming at me, and ended up following me after the manager threatened to kick him out. He followed me into the elevator, and it was probably the weirdest thing that ever happened to me. It was like being in a it was like being in a American Werewolf in Paris scene. He altered, he changed, and did he turn into a werewolf? No, it was more reptilian. It was more like a scene out of They Live. He was, you know, snarling, angry, and
consumed with some sort of energy that was very...
Yes. But yeah, I had to go up to Dave and apologize. I said, you know, I thought you were kind of full of it with this reptilian crap until it happened to me.
Right. Well, I had an experience the other night. That a reptilian energy in my dream that was trying to get into my head, and I blasted it with just this white light. and this individual change. And I know right now that the main thing the Illuminati do not want people to know is, all this stuff right now going on with the, a lot of people are hearing about consciousness of the planet and the vibrational rate of the planet and all that. If they can shut that down, and when right now we have the ability to manifest and create the things we want if we will just believe and allow the fear to go away. And it can happen very exponentially right now, and they're trying to control, the more chaos that they can create for the human race with the problem, reaction, solution, the more drama they can create, that vibration is going to carry over with people. And then I like to call a lot of these Christians apocalyptic. That first is going to be the YU-55 asteroid that, we're all going to die, and then the FEMA thing happening, it's all going to happen, and everything's getting ready to happen. It seems as though they want the world to blow up.
They are looking for the apocalypse. They are looking for Armageddon. They want that. They think that's part of their Christian religion. And I have a tendency to look at the Bible and ask a question, is this prophecy or is this a plan? Now, to be even able to ask that question sets me apart from 90% of humanity.
There's a book that I read by Bart D. Ehrman. It's called Jesus Interpreted. Fascinating book, alright? He started as a Christian evangelical, and now he is an agnostic, simply because he has written some really great, and he teaches theology, and I'm typing in the chat room right here, and it breaks down where the Bible came from, and who wrote it, and which factions did this. It's a very interesting read. I mean, it was, unfortunately, I'm not about breaking people's paradigms, right? I don't run around trying to enforce, my reality on other people, but I believe education is power. And the more that you have a concept, I mean, if you're going to pick up this book called the Bible, understand where it really came from. Get the history behind it. Don't just walk into some 501c3 that's government controlled and sit there and, listen to some guy spew information, and then you believe it because you have a crisis in your life. Now you got God. I mean, foxhole prayers have happened for years. One of the things I like to tell Christians is that you don't need to pray for me. All right, you go about your business. And even in the New Age movement, I mean, it's kind of like a la carte, that trans mediums, a little bit of this, a little bit of Buddhist, a little bit of that. But then there's a lot of ego. I mean, you've been to Sedona. I'm sure you know how the gurus are. You don't need a guru. Most of your answers are within yourself if you just sit quiet enough. Dennis Messina, the Hopi, he said, let's just go in the middle of the desert so you can hear yourself think. I like that.
This is one of the complaints. Somebody talked about Alex Jones on here. Alex Jones, he gives, good propaganda, according to Goebbels, is 90% of the truth. So you just all have to alter a little bit to get your Hegelian dialectic effect in there.
Well, anybody thinking Alex Jones is the next savior, understand he's about money too.
That's right, and he doesn't talk about Jews. One, he's married one, two, his children are Jewish, and he doesn't want them threatened, he doesn't want them afraid, he doesn't want them, well, guess what, we don't want the Palestinian children to be afraid either.
No,
and what Alex is doing is, it's coming, you gotta get ready, you're gonna have my gun when you take it from my cold dead fingers. And it's about fear. It's to get you to fear. I don't want anybody to be afraid. You don't have to be afraid of me. You don't have to be afraid of what's happening. What you need to do is prepare. What you need to do is ask yourself, if this happened, what would I do? And to me, that's, I tell people all the time, don't believe anything I say. Check it out for yourself.
And I do like the fact that Alex Jones, does give some research ideas, but his drama, God, he just needs to win a Grammy for being the most over-dramatic alternative talk show host I've ever seen. And the same with Glenn Beck, and same with all of them. They're just overly dramatic. My God. It pulls it in the ratings, but I guess I'm I was an insider, so, you know, I can look at things, I have a different purview when I look at things. Yeah, I get tired of his rants, you know, but it makes him money.
Yeah, I had Alex Jones on my show when I was on shortwave. I introduced him when he was just a radio talk show host in Austin, and I had him at one of my events, and we were having dinner together after the show. And I said, Alex, did it ever occur to you that your wife might be your handler? And he's never spoken to me since.
Yeah, well.
But she does good websites. She does good work. They do good work. I mean, and maybe he's smarter than I am, because he does have Jewish people that own Jewish that own businesses that advertise with him, that won't advertise with me.
Well, look, it's you know, even I wanted to talk about the Jews. This whole 12, the number 12 all the time, so it comes up a lot. And even the Jews, they talk about the 12 tribes of Israel, and the 12 this, and the 12 that. But, you know, I mean, first of all, I talk so much theology right now. Maybe I should. Maybe I should clear some things up. First of all, there was no divinity of Christ ever given except the book of John. Right? That is the only book in the Bible that was ever written about the divinity of Jesus Christ being God. Period. End of story. It is not an argument. It is not saying anything negative, and I'm not going to burn in hell, because there is no hell. This is just the way it is if you study your research. And the Jews never believed in the divinity of Christ, because that is not how the lineage ran. They believed in Davidic law. In other words, that, you know, their Messiah would come literally on earth and rule the line, you know, the line of David. Okay, now here's the other thing. How could Jesus be the Christ if he was supposed to come from the line of David through his father Joseph, if Mary was a virgin? Hello? I mean, figure it out, people. Add 2 and 2 equals 4. And, you know, it's just, that's one issue. Then, of course, the New Agers, I mean, they're all running around with their hands out trying to give messages. Look, I've channeled for a long time. I'm going to say this on the air. My first time ever saying it. I did an interview in 1997 with Michael Huffman, who spoke in front of the United Nations about UFO contact. He went white when I shared some things with him, and he said, "Who are you?" I said, "I'm an emissary. And I don't run around trying to make money off of my knowledge. I have open communication. And as an observer on this planet, I'm finally going to come forward and say, yeah, I'm a connection. I'm a representative of the Pleiadians. And they do have a little karma left on this planet, because they did, in fact, do some genetics on the human race. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. If you study Darwinism, which is a theory, they can't explain the Cambrian explosion, a 60,000-year difference in, you know, the human brain. People, we can do genetics right now. So why is it such a far-reaching possibility that it happened on us as human beings?
Now, you know, I have a lot of books out that haven't even been published yet, and one of those, a couple of those I started 40 years ago. And I've also theorized that because all of the major civilizations, the pyramids, the Mayans, the Egyptians, you know, the people in Afghanistan and that region there, you know, they're all in all of these ancient civilizations.